But anyways, let's look at this tweet from Zach Labe. We'll get into some climate change stuff. Evolution of Arctic sea ice since June 1. June 1. Note the record-breaking loss of sea ice along the coast of Siberia and the effects of the recent cyclone. The strong storm helped to disperse the sea ice and change the direction of ice motion. That is where we are at right now. Oh, terrifyingly thin. And I don't know if this is the glacier that you're speaking of, Donald McCarthy, but this is from Old Ivory. Tweeted this out. A huge chunk of a glacier in the Mont Blanc Massif on the northeast of Italy is threatening to break off because of the high temperatures. Let's look at this a little bit. Italian Valley still in red zone as the Mont Blanc glacier threatens collapse, and Italian alpine resort remained on high alert Friday over fears a vast chunk of a glacier on the slopes of the Mont Blanc Massif could plummet in high temperatures. No one gets through, no cars, bikes, or pedestrians, was the message at a checkpoint where an automatic barrier and 2 guards blocked the small tarmac road, snaking up into a lush valley below the Plan-Pic-Q glacier. I think I totally destroyed the pronunciation of that. Not far from the town of Courmayeur and the Italian-French border. But the blockade has largely been greeted with contempt by the locals, one of whom told AFP it's a joke. The huge ice block measuring around 500,000 cubic meters, the size of Milan Cathedral, or a football pitch covered in ice 80 meters thick, according to an official, could yet break free from its perch about 2,600 to 2,800 meters above sea level. Late Wednesday, authorities ordered the evacuation of a red zone at the base of the slope for at least 72 hours, so far moving just 75 people, around 20 locals, and the remainder holidaymakers. At this time of year, the small Valferre Valley, now blocked off, is usually busy with tourists heeding the call of the mountains. Located in the Aosta Valley region, the spot is not far from where a vital road tunnel pierces the Alps between France and Italy. But the red zone is at least 4 kilometers from the tunnel entrance. While tourists could still be seen strolling through the streets of Courmayeur, it was urgent and vital to move people directly in the path of a potential icefall. Courmayeur Mayor Stefano Miserocci said, highlighting an elevated state of alert during the 72-hour evacuation. The coming 3 days are expected to bring especially high temperatures as much of Europe sizzles under a heat wave. During a helicopter flypast, an AFP reporter saw a gaping chasm on the lower part of the Plan-Pic-Q, from which the 2 cascades of water flowed toward the valley as it hung from the mountainside like a gigantic block of gray polystyrene. Last autumn, another section of the ice from the Plan-Pic-Q glacier threatened to collapse, prompting road closures in the area, and heightened surveillance has since been introduced. In Courmayeur, as the small neighboring commune of La Palu, leading to Valferre, the evacuation came as an unwelcome surprise, arousing criticism from residents and tourism professionals worried about the impact on their activity. Please, all the safety is ruining my business. It's ruining my business. We can't have it, see? Listen, see? We can't have these safety precautions. They're getting in the way of my tourism business. And you know, I was thinking about the fact that humans are just getting more and more stupid and self-centered. Has anybody else noticed this? That humans are just incredibly just myopic, self-centered, stupid humans, and it's getting worse. I wonder why it's getting worse. I feel like it's I feel like it's humanism on some level, like this idea that we have to, treat all humans as if they're like wonderful masterpieces of creation. I know I'm going way out on a limb and starting to sound like an asshole, but I'm just saying, you know, what if has anybody done any studies? And I'm sure they probably have done studies about the fact that when you right, because nature kind of right, there's a whole survival of the fittest thing to evolution. So that's where I'm going. Evolution kind of depends on survival of the fittest or survival of adaptation. Some kind of hardship is involved in the evolution of species, which some people see as the betterment of species, right? So humans don't really have to adapt to much these days, right? They're coddled, they're filled with comfort inducing things, food and places to go and things to do, and right, there's not, all hardship has been removed from a lot of human existence. Not a lot of struggle for a lot of people. I'm not saying all people. And maybe all of this produces, less than desirable humans or human traits. Just a thought. Like the muscle shirt, indeed, good one, touche. Doc Parker says human frailty needs empathy, not exploitation. Right, Jam, but survival of the fittest does not obligate assholism as well. You're right. And that's the thing is like, I'm not an asshole. I personally, I have a thing. I don't really like assholes and I don't like to be an asshole. So way to jump straight to individualism and social Darwinism. Yes, I know. I'm veering off the ledge here. I'm just saying. If you've noticed that human beings are getting more super self-centered and very, comfort seeking and, my needs, whatever my needs are, and I don't care about anybody else. Maybe humans have always been that way. I don't know. Crystallize. Oh, Kay Becker says we need groups to survive. That's the way we evolved. Last Monkey, I take my chances alone. Doc Parker, capitalism has warped the thoughts of many. Indeed. Donald McCarthy, tribal allegiances are downside to empathy and compassion. The thing is, listen, I obviously am on the side of compassion and empathy, and that's, how I try to live my life, and actually how I feel like I evolve as a person, right? Because that's evolution in my own personal life is the exercise of empathy and compassion, or the spreading of awareness, the growth of awareness and empathy and compassion is what drives me personally and drives my own personal growth. I don't know. But why is it that, I can see that for myself, but I don't see that leading to other people being compassionate in the world. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out here. I'm spitballing right now. Please don't be mad at me. Please don't hate me for spitballing ideas. Schulte 100, it is not the strongest nor the most intelligent of the species that survives, but the one most responsive to change. There you go. Have I been playing basketball? No. It's warm. It's a warm day in LA. And, less clothing, I guess, is an option. Urban Hermit says, I tried following Lord Hugh debunking Darwin, but it's way over my head. Oh, I haven't seen that. I'm actually very interested in that. But, I mean that in the way that, also the way that, humanism is contributing to climate destruction, to destruction of habitat, right? So it's our need to keep everybody alive and healthy and comfortable, and humans first, nature last, or secondary. Everything is secondary to human needs, right? So I don't know if that's humanism, but that's anthropogenicism, I guess. Am I saying that right? It's anthropogenic. It's a very human first ideology. Justin McNeil, I can't feel the music anymore. Anyways, so yeah. Vintage Violet says, Kevin, you have an amount of self-awareness that for some reason the masses aren't being taught to value. Thank you, Vintage Violet. I appreciate that. No, but I'm just saying that, humanism or human centrism is, I feel like it's a very big part of why we're destroying the planet. However, if we were truly humanly centric or anthropocentric, if we were really concerned about ourselves and our place in the world, or our survival, even if you even want to just go to straight up survival, we would be concerned about the biosphere, as concerned about the biosphere as we are about making money, or making new gadgets, or selling people things, or whatever, or running over six pronghorn antelope, whatever. Debunking Darwin. Anyways, whatever. I'm just throwing out random ideas. But again, right? Nature has a way to deal with an imbalance in the system. Unfortunately, it's called death, right? If there are too many of a species for a habitat, what happens to that species? The species dies off. We happen to be way too many of a species for our habitat, right? We only have enough resources and habitat for our species because we are technologically empowered to do so. But eventually that technological empowerment is going to run out, and Earth will balance itself, right? Mother Nature, or the planet, is going to enact its balancing mechanism, which is, it's called die-off. It's called, that's what it is. So is that anti-humanism? Is that an anti-humanist thing to say? Not really. That's just reality. So anyways, I don't know. Random thoughts. Maybe you like them, maybe you don't. Basil Peterson, thank you for this super chat. Ecocentric and braiding sweetgrass. D Truth, what kind of God creates a self-consumed human to destroy its creation? Good question. Anthony Davis, Black Bear News should be a radio channel. Maybe so. LC, guess who survives in economics and free markets? Psychopaths, indeed. Well, it seems to attract the worst of us, right? Elon, if anybody's been following Elon Musk on Twitter, Jesus Christ, he's turned into a real piece of work. He's just been saying just incredibly crappy things lately, and everybody's like, "What, dude? You're a monster. You're not cool at all. I really like your cars, but can you shut up?" Anyways, let's move on. It's getting late in the day. And late in this broadcast. Magical Thinking Barbie sent me this. This is some film of a dust storm in India. Jaisalmer, sorry. Crazy. I'm just going to kind of skip through this a little bit. But this guy who's filming it just kind of stands in the way of it, which is pretty... But really massive dust storm. This is from August 6th. Anyways, just wanted to show you that. Let's move on. Is it pronounced Mauritius? I don't even know. Mauritius? Mauritius? Declares state of environmental emergency after oil spill. This is from yesterday. Mauritius Prime Minister Pravind Jugnauth declared a state of emergency on Friday as the Indian Ocean island battled to contain an oil spill. The oil seeped from a Japanese freighter that ran aground last month off the coast of the popular tourist island. Jugnauth made the brief statement in a tweet several hours earlier. Tweeted, "Our country does not have the skills and expertise to refloat stranded ships, so I asked for help from France." Tagging French President Emmanuel Macron, Macron's social media pages have not yet responded. Sends out a tweet or whatever. Photographs from the air showed the oil slick spreading through the turquoise water surrounding the island. Oh my God. Greenpeace said the spill from the bulk carrier would have devastating consequences. Yay, humans. Yay, humans. Yay. Mauritius? Okay. Good. My instincts were correct. Yay, humans. Destroying everything. Destroying everything. G. Demarest says, you've seen a dust storm like that in Arizona? It's frightening. I've never seen one in my life. Forest dweller, I'm laughing at all the idiots frying in gridlock to go to the beach. All the news warns them. But do they listen? No. Last Monkey says, did you know that there's 5,000 World War II warships on the bottom of the ocean? I'm with carrier oil, ocean carrier oil. Yeah, there's all kinds of wreckage down there, yeah. Carrying oil. Yeah, did you know that there's still barrels? They used to put radioactive waste into barrels and dump it in the ocean. There's still thousands of barrels all over the planet, all over the bottom of the ocean carrying radioactive waste. They try to dig up a lot of them, or they have dug up a lot of them. But there's still many out there. Just decaying. But that used to be how we got rid of radioactive waste. We'd put it in a barrel, we'd seal it up, put it on a ship, and go dump all the barrels in the ocean. There you go. Done. Not to mention unexploded bombs. Exactly. Apparently, if anybody knows who Rainn Wilson is, he's the guy that was in The Office. He has a new climate change series that he's doing with Greta Thunberg. Rainn Wilson launches climate change web series featuring Greta Thunberg. If anybody's interested in seeing that, it's called An Idiot's Guide to Climate Change. And clearly, the idiots need a guide. So this is good. So you guys can go check that out. His channel is called Soul Pancake. He's a funny guy. I'm going to go watch some of those. I have not watched any of those yet, so who knows? CB Unglesby, 250,000 at Sturgis this weekend. Unmasked, wild as usual, of course. Your environment, Seattle. The mafia was supposed to bury the radioactive waste, but they dumped it at sea. Yes, indeed. The mafia, otherwise known as the U.S. military. The military-industrial complex, a.k.a. the mafia. Chris Lai, that's the reason for piracy in Somalia. All the nuclear waste dumped in the waters off the coast have killed all the fish. The fishermen turned to piracy. I didn't know that. I know that, there's a lot of coastal waters with no fish. Many who have no more fish populations or not enough to sustain the fishing industry there. So that's global. That's a global problem. But I didn't know that was specifically in Somalia that was caused by radioactive waste. I had no idea. Let's move on. This is from Zach Labe. This is the 12-month running mean global temperature anomaly, statistically tied for the warmest on record. I love how they just picked the 1980 baseline here. Apparently, we're only here globally. Where is that? I don't know, 0.7 above the baseline. Their baseline is 1980. So yeah, ridiculous, because the baseline is at least 100 years, if not 200 years before 1980. But who's counting? But anyways, we're at an all-time high. That's all you need to know. And again, more evidence of a warming planet, because it's called global warming. You can call it climate change if you want to, but global warming is also very apt. This is out of Reuters from 2 days ago. World's 3 hottest Julys happened in the last 5 years. Golly, do you think that's a trend? Would you say that might be a trend? Last month was the world's 3rd hottest July on record. New data show the latest milestone in a global warming trend that has seen the 3 hottest Julys within the last 5 years. With the heat has come a high level of ice melt in the Arctic, where the extent of sea ice last month hit the lowest level for July since the polar satellite record keeping began 4 decades ago, according to the European Union's Copernicus Climate Change Service. The new findings come as France and Belgium brace for a possible weekend heat wave, while Italian roads near an alpine glacier were closed amid warnings that high temperatures could cause ice to collapse. It's not just a summer thing, said Copernicus senior scientist Freja Vamborg. It's on a global scale, and all months are warming. All months are warming. Atmospheric temperature records dating back to the mid-19th century reveal the last 5 years to be the hottest yet. It's very simple. Nobody's making this up. It's not like a oopsie. We read that temperature thing wrong. No. This is many temperature records over the, especially over the last 5 years. We are gaining in temperature. And nobody's making this up to implement a whatever new world order thing, or maybe they are. I don't know, but no, they're not. I'm kidding. Only 2019 and 2016 were warmer than last month. Last month, the U.S. states of New Mexico and Texas posted record highs. The Middle East also saw record heat, with Bahrain recording its hottest July since 1902. Even above the waters of the northeastern Pacific Ocean, sea surface temperatures reached nearly 5 degrees Celsius above the 40-year average in some places, the data show. In the Arctic, which has been warming at more than twice the global rate in recent decades, the expanse of sea ice shrank to its lowest level recorded for any July since 1979. That doesn't mean that it was low as that in 1979. The way they word this can be very misleading. This makes it seem like its lowest level since, July of 1979, as if maybe it was at that low level in 79. No, it wasn't. It was never this low. So what they mean to say is the lowest level recorded for July ever in human history. So let's just, we'll state it like that. The data service said satellite images reveal ice-free conditions almost everywhere along the Siberian coastline, a shipping route that until a few years ago could be crossed only with ice-breaking vessel. It's difficult to talk about average conditions in the Arctic where ice cover fluctuates from year to year, Van Borg said. But this is a very, very clear downward trend over the last 40 years. Very, very clear downward trend over the last 40 years. The heat has also been linked with wildfires that have been scorching patches of the Siberian forest and permafrost since mid-June. An image on Wednesday from a Copernicus satellite showed a massive smoke cloud over the remote Russian region. Carbon monoxide levels over Siberia suggest the wildfires really took off in the last 2 years, said Mark Parrington, a senior scientist at Copernicus tracking wildlife emissions. Meanwhile, the Siberian fires this year have already released roughly 200 million tons of carbon dioxide, more than in any of the previous 17 years, he said. Okie dokie. Yeah, nobody's making this up. There's just so much evidence. There's a mountain of evidence. There's so much evidence. There's evidence upon evidence upon evidence. For decades and decades and decades. We have 130 watching, 54 likes. Please like up the video, guys. If you can, we can let more people know we're here. I'm going to go into the last thing I want to cover today. About windmills, I feel like I've read this before. I've read other articles just very similar. This is one of those ones that, I feel like I read the same articles over and over again. Every 3 or 6 months or a year, the same articles with the same information come out. But, it is what it is. Sorry. Trump has ruined the saying. It is what it is. Which is a saying that I like to say a lot. Dang it. Peak energy and resources, climate change, and preservation of knowledge. This is from energyskeptic.com. 1,688 tons of material to build just one windmill. The 2.3 megawatt wind turbine in this video weighs a lot more than the 900 tons I listed later in this post. That's just what I was able to hear in the video, and it leaves at least half the weight out. Do watch the video here. Clearly, wind turbines aren't renewable when you consider the vast amounts of material and energy required. As you'll see in 47 reasons why wind power cannot replace fossil fuels. Excuse me. A 2 megawatt wind turbine actually weighs 1,688 tons, 1,300 tons of concrete, 295 tons of steel, 48 tons of iron, 24 tons of fiberglass, 4 tons of copper, 4 tons of neodymium, 0.065 tons of dysprosium, and more. And 2 megawatts is puny. Imagine what these must weigh. The offshore 12 megawatt Haliade X offshore wind turbine will stand 260 meters or 850 feet tall with 107 meter long or 350 foot blades. Schnikes. The onshore Enercon E126 7.5 megawatt wind turbine has a hub height of 135 meters or 443 feet, a 127 meter or 417 foot diameter rotor, and provides a swept area of 12,668 square meters or 3 square acres. The pictures from the video capture how long the EROI of wind power must be when you can see the embodied fossil fuels used to build a wind turbine. Mid-American Energy announced that they were about to build the tallest wind turbine in the U.S., a 2.3 megawatt, 554 foot tall with a 173-foot blade extended, about the same as the Washington Monument. It will be 337 feet ground to hub, use 395 cubic yards of concrete, 63,400 pounds of reinforcing steel, and generate power when winds are 7 miles per hour or higher, producing the most wind at 29 miles per hour. Important figures such as cost, capacity, maintenance, and so on. Mid-American Energy is owned by Warren Buffett, who has this to say about why he builds wind farms. I will do anything that is basically covered by the law to reduce Berkshire's tax rate. Buffett told an audience in Omaha, Nebraska recently, for example, on wind energy, we get a tax credit if we build a lot of wind farms. That's the only reason to build them. They don't make sense without the tax credit. Okay. Yet it doesn't begin to capture all the energy inputs to wind turbines. Notably, transmission is left out of the picture, and the natural gas plants to balance intermittent energy, the mining of the ores for iron and steel, or crushing of rocks to make cement concrete, the fossil fuels and the tons of epoxy and so on to make the 900 short tons of material. It is probably more like 1,300 tons given the other peer-reviewed publications on materials used in 2-megawatt turbines. Not all of the materials used were included in this short video. Most wind power will be forever stranded because it's too far from cities to run transmission lines to. If you look at the state-level wind maps in the Wind Energy Resource Atlas of the United States list of maps, it appears as if cities have been placed as far from the commercial wind power as possible. But no diabolical force is to blame. The distance is due to cities arising near good, flat farmland, yet the best wind is on the ridges of highlands. To get around this, wind turbines taller than the St. Louis Arch at peak blade tip have been proposed for the southeast and other areas without commercial wind. You'd need 32,850 wind turbines to replace the cubic mile of oil consumed globally every year. And a grand total of 1,642,000 turbines to replace oil over the next 50 years, which may be conservative given that the wind isn't blowing all the time, so that triple or more would be needed on a national grid with massive energy storage batteries. A wind turbine lifespan is only 20 years, so rinse and repeat. Each windmill in this video takes 3 weeks to build from excavation to operation, requires 40 to 100 geopiers installed for stability, weight unknown, excavate 10 feet deep, 100 feet wide, set 96,000 pounds of reinforcing steel rebar equals 48 tons. 53 concrete trucks pour foundations. If each truck can haul 8 cubic yards at 2,538 pounds per yard. 53 equals 1,076,112 pounds, or 538 tons. Move 1,500 cubic yards of soil at 2,200 pounds per cubic yard equals 3.3 million pounds equals 1,650 tons. 3 blades, each 173 feet long and 27,000 pounds for 81,000 pounds equals 40.5 tons. 8 truckloads to deliver turbine components. Nacelle, weight 181,000 pounds or 90.5 tons with generator, gearbox, and rotor shaft. Hub, weight unknown. Base tower height 53 to 11 inches, 48.7 tons. Mid tower height 84 feet 6 inches or 57.8 tons. Top tower height 119 feet, 52 tons. Final tower height to blade tip when fully extended 442 feet. References listed. Life cycle assessment of 2 megawatt class wind turbines. Mid-American Energy's new Iowa wind farm to feature tallest onshore turbine ever, et cetera, et cetera. And here's a problem with wind power. This is from 2006, so a little bit older report. Some pictures here, guys. It's a lot of building. It's a lot of building. But jobs. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention, if you are going to build out a battery grid to store this energy, the energy inputs into that are pretty massive. So are the mining inputs into that massive. And what do you do with the batteries once they get old? They have a short lifespan, and they are difficult to break down and difficult to remove. Your environment, Seattle, all those thousands of wind turbines or thousand tons of uranium. I don't know. Sultan Bev says, but all this about wind turbines is still less than that used to build an oil well, pipelines, and refineries. You're correct, actually, Sultan Bev. I agree with you. You're correct. There's a lot of building involved. Period. Although we've been talking about Lord Hugh in this chat, but Hugh has a very good video about the fact that if we, and I think he's referencing other some other studies, but the inputs it would take to switch out our entire grid globally to renewable energy would put so many emissions into the planet, into the atmosphere. We would lock in certain death. Hey guys, remember to like, share, and subscribe, and you can support the channel at the links below, PayPal, Patreon, Square. Also, if you'd like to watch the live streams, you can watch the live streams on my Patreon channel. You can subscribe for as little as $1. So hopefully I will see you over there, and thanks so much.